Hey guys, Gore here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are taking a look at the mod that's been all the craze over the last week or so. That being the Middle Eastern Escalation mod. With it comes a ton of different factions, weapons, and even some changes to the core gameplay mechanics of Squad. We're going to take a look at everything as well as some gameplay I was able to capture of the mod. Now, if you think I'm going to show off a bunch of cool stuff and then leave you all high and dry, you're dead wrong. This Saturday, I'll be throwing the mod on my community squad server, the Inglorious Blueberries, for you all to check out. I'll have more information on the event at the end of the video, but if you're interested, click on the top link in the description. Before we do get any further, about 79% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if you enjoy the content here, consider hitting that sub button. And if you're watching this video within a few hours of release, I'm live streaming over on Twitch right now. Come on by for a bit or just to say hello. Now, let's get into things. So this mod brings in an array of new factions, from special forces that have vastly better hardware to insurgent factions that are equipped with absolute bare bones. I'm not going to go over every last addition and changes to the faction's hardware, but for the sake of showing off some of the fantastic modeling and for giving you guys an idea of how much has been done, I'll show off some of my favorites. Starting with the US Special Forces, while the ability to use backup optics has not been implemented into the game, a few of the kits have access to alternate optics like the Squad Leader kit that has a canted RMR. Another cool example of this, while it may be a little bit wonky, is the EOTech holographic hybrid sight, where you have both a holo sight and a magnifier that you can toggle when you need that little extra range. Moving on down the list of cool US Special Forces weapons, we have things like the SR-25, the M700, and the Mark 17. The Russian Special Forces have a great looking array of upgraded AK-12s, RPK-16s, and SVDMs. My favorite has to be the RPK equipped with a 95 round drum mag that shoots like an absolute laser beam even when fired from the shoulder. While the Special Forces factions may be geared to the teeth, the insurgent factions are left looking like a bunch of preschoolers. Equipped with mostly iron sights, these factions must rely on strength in numbers, forcing close range engagements and stationary weapon emplacements. There are also a few factions that sort of fall in the middle of the two extremes. One of which is the Iraqi Golden Division, who have to be one of my favorites as far as their overall appearance. They rock mostly M4s with an array of different optics with some cool additions like the M14 and M24 bolt-action rifle. While the new weapons look incredible, there are a few shortcomings that I discovered that ruined the experience for me a little bit. The most standout thing was the audio of these new weapons. The suppressed weapons sound fantastic, but those that find themselves unsuppressed leave so much to be desired. With a lot of the M4 platforms, the full auto fire mode is using the semi-auto soundbite over and over, so going full auto sounds incredibly off-putting. For some of the Russian AKs, the original soundbite is used, but when you're using full auto, it sounds like you're firing at an extreme rate. Some weapon noises have just been copy and pasted as well. Before I get people yelling at me in the comments, I fully understand that this is a mod and the person or persons creating it have limited time and resources, but I do still want to point out the aspects that are good or are lacking. Lastly, on the audio side, the DVL for the Russians is by far the quietest weapon in squad history. So on top of all these weapon and faction changes, Middle Eastern Escalation also makes some core gameplay changes as well. Starting with player movement, you no longer have a stamina bar and are locked to the movement speed you'd have if you had 0 stamina in the vanilla game. Mantling has received a huge nerf, with your character no longer being able to hoist himself over walls and fences that are above about waist height. I love both of these changes as they're both a step in the right direction of slowing down the overall play. Next, within certain roles, you'll see a few distinct changes. The first standout one I noticed was the omission of the ammo bag from all the rifleman kits. This change could be wildly influential to encourage more fob building and logistics, but currently each time you respawn you have full ammo, so it doesn't really matter. Next is the increase in bandage count for all non-medic kits from 2 to 4. Not much of a change in my opinion, although with it I did see more non-medics reviving friendlies since they had bandages to spare. Within the Squad Leader kit, your rally point never needs to be rearmed. I do not know if this was intended, but it makes the gameplay far too forgiving and goes against the more hardcore intention of the mod. Now, I didn't expect this next one to change the game so much, but I was finding I had to change my playstyle immensely. In this mod, Squad Leader and Fire Team Leader order marks like the Observe and Attack do not show up on screen. Meaning now, if you want the range to a target, you either need to use your binos or calculate it based off the map or off prior experience. Also, callouts and trying to orient squad members to look a certain way or do something was much more difficult, as I now needed to give grid coordinates or use landmarks to communicate. Each layer in this mod takes away many of the heavier vehicles and leaves only APCs, armored transports, and lodges, making gameplay much more infantry-centric. The last change I was able to notice was the appearance of habs. Now, instead of being a bunker, you have almost a large ammo crate. This made concealing spawns far easier, but I did run into an issue where a hab that was placed inside a building had a high chance of spawning you inside a wall and trapping you there. One last thing that I noticed, and I don't know if this is just me or if others have felt the same, but it feels like the bullet velocity has been lessened, or from the time you fire to the time the round leaves the chambers seems delayed. I'll throw up a side-by-side comparison of what I'm talking about, and you can see in the clips that the vanilla game registers the hit far quicker than the mod. I have no idea if this was intended or if it was something that went wrong, but I found that I had to completely change my lead amounts on moving targets, which really screwed with my head. Now, with everything I've said and all the new thing the mods introduced, you're probably expecting me to close out the video on a tangent of how incredible the mod is and that you need to play it right now. Well, after listening to all the things I just said, I don't really think people think that. While I do recommend coming to your own conclusions, and I hope this Saturday I see a night and day difference from my experiences thus far, I have to say, I found the gameplay some of the least enjoyable games of Squad I've had in a long time. A lot of this seems like it boils down to the fact that the mod has a cool factor, with the Special Forces factions having new weapons and suppressors. Things that people really want to try out. Well, there's the issue. Everyone wants to try out the new shiny thing and couldn't give two shits about any sort of teamwork or communication. Additionally, people want to try out the stuff so badly, they'll just sit unassigned on the insurgent team all game long trying to get over to the other side. This leads to the better equipped faction having far more players actually playing and leaves the opposition team helpless. While the team imbalance may not be found in servers running the other like-minded mod, Steel Division, the sentiment that people just want to try out the cool shit and couldn't be bothered with the rest remains constant. All the issues I previously listed make the mod feel really janky, and I'm well aware it's likely being worked on by one or a few people and they're doing these things in their free time, but regardless, I want to point out the issues and shortcomings that I experienced. I was really hoping this mod would give me a refreshing wave of teamwork and communication that I've been longing for, but I was left really disappointed. But being left disappointed ain't good enough for me, so instead of being a little upset baby at how things could have been, I'm going to be throwing the Middle Eastern Escalation mod on my own community squad server this Saturday. That kind of sounded like I was trying to get you down to buy a used car over the weekend for our sale. Whatever. I'm really hoping we can manage to capture that higher tier of team play and communication, but we shall see. The name of our server is the Inglorious Blueberries, of which you'll be able to find in the normal server browser. The community Discord will be the first link down below where you can join to be alerted when we start seeding Saturday morning. I hope to see a bunch of you in there. That is all I have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you had better or worse or the same experiences as me with the mod, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'm out.